Hey everyone, this is our 3370 project for software engineering practice. We made a modern text editor called SmartPad. My name is Brent Slonowitz, and I am the group leader.
I'm Cameron Jordan, and I'm on the development team.
My name is Ellis Mouton, and I'm part of the development team.
My name is Mamadou Rahman, and I'm a part of the development team.
My name is Shisao. I'm also in the development team.
My name is Nathaniel Matowski. I'm the project manager.
All right, so for phase one, we created a problem statement. Everyday technology progresses further in our lives, and the backbone of all technology has code in it nowadays. These control the functions and logic of many devices. The code can be written in multiple different text editors, which could get confusing, and our goal is to create a text editor that is modern and makes it easy for everyone to follow. Text editors have existed for decades and may have started becoming out of date. Some older looking ones were like, we have a modern text editor, we want to make it look new. So with a new text editor being needed, we can take advantage of modern technological advances in order to provide a fast, responsive text editing environment. So our objective is to provide users a program to be able to write digitally, so they can express and organize their thoughts, their code with others with colors and other useful functions. So what sets SmartPad aside from others is the new modern way of working and modifying text. And this application can deliver user-friendly, quick, and great way to work with others and working in documents. So our requirements for this project was the user should be able to use a text editor to create new documents or edit existing documents. The text editor will be able to bold, italicize, underline, strike through any text that is written, change the font type of the text, the color, the size of the text, and have a way to find and replace different words in the text. Add bullet points, be able to save, open, close documents, and also support the functionality of copy and pasting and indentation. To create a better user experience, the text editor will have a word counter, search bar, highlighting, hyperlinking, headers, footers, printing functions that we would like to include. It also include a counter, spacing feature, autosave functionality later on while files are being edited. The non-functional requirement, text editor should be responsive and able to run on multiple computers to create and operating systems to create and edit text documents. So our target environment is Windows computers, easiest to work with right now with the program we use to create this. Our future environment was going to be Mac OS X, Linux. We were able to, towards the end of the project, to get it working on OS X without a problem. So we use NetBeans for developing it with Java Swing, with Java and Java Swing. We used Java Swing to build the GUI, the UI. And then for getting hold of everyone and communicating, we used Discord. Everyone had it on their phone. Everyone was able to ping Team3. We would all get a notification on our phone. Everyone was responsive. We used Google Drive to share documents. We created multiple folders and drives, phase 1, 2, 3, final phase, kept everything organized, nice and easy to find everything we're looking for, made sure we named things accordingly so we weren't getting confused. Live editing is awesome in that we were able to work on the presentation with 4 people at once, knocked it out, no problem. Using GitHub, we were able to modify the text on the code on multiple computers. With using Discord and GitHub at the same time, we were able to make sure that no one was overwriting or working on the same code at the same time, so code wouldn't be lost. And then in Trello, we divided Trello into multiple, they call them banners. And we did phase 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in each phase, we were able to create, I believe they're called tiles, write down what we needed to do for each phase. And then each tile, we were able to put in a little description on what was needed and assign team members to each tile and then able to mark that as complete when they were done with that part of the project. So we did use Scrum for this. It's modern, efficient, easy to develop and plan to keep us organized and on time to meet the specific deadlines. We use user stories in order to plan out the implementation of these features and make sure that the features perform the way they should once it's implemented. Scrum involves a lot of interaction and input with the development process. We're able to confirm that the product is being created and delivered according to the customer's requirements. So the schedule, we split up the work to be done in 4 different sprints, 4 different phases, each lasting a week or 2, depending on what phase it was, focusing on that specific phase. And then we divided that phase into smaller projects to be worked on by each team member. Each team member worked 2 to 4 hours per week before phase 4. We were able to knock out 1 through 3, not too much time. And then phase 4, though, we definitely had to spend a lot of time on that, fixing phases 1, 2, and 3, the revision from the professor, making sure we took care of that, and then also creating the PowerPoint and getting the code finished up, and then adding phases 1, 2, and 3 into a final draft and making sure everything looked good on that part. So this is, I'll do a rough overview. These are our 4 sprints, 4 phases. First phase, we developed the project, went over the requirements, spent some time on that. The entire team was assigned to that for pretty much everything here because we all worked together on a lot of it, pretty much all of it. Submitted it. And then phase 2, created the use case diagrams, the fully dressed use case diagrams, and a domain class diagram. Phase 3, we created the sequence diagrams, the design class diagrams, and then implemented the classes we created into the code. And this is where we began to start working on the code. In phase 4, we finished up the code, created the presentation, created the YouTube video, and then add phases 1, 2, and 3 together to create our final draft. Here are risk analysis, scheduling conflicts. Well, probability only 20% here. That's due to the fact that everyone is remote now, and we all had Discord on our phone. We were able to work. We didn't have to meet up, I should say, in class or at campus to meet. We could just hop on a Zoom call whenever we want. So it wasn't too bad. There was some scheduling conflicts. People have lives on the weekends, especially. We don't, but in that case, we had a couple people meet instead of the entire team meet and then fill them in later. If someone was assigned a task and something did come up, that was a huge impact if only one person knew how to complete that, but we made sure everyone was kind of familiar with everything, and then we used Discord to fill that person in and get that thing done. We did schedule meetings at least twice a week to make sure everyone's up to date if something did happen like that. We were prepared for it. And then multiple people are assigned tasks. So if one person can't finish that task, other person is still there and it will get completed. For the code management, we knew coming into it, we were all a little experienced with GitHub. So GitHub can be very practical, useful, and we can all see the code, but sometimes it can cause some issues. If 2 people are working at once, as I explained earlier, whoever pushes first, the second person will get an error saying that their code's not up to date and it won't be able to overwrite it. So we're always in constant communication, because if we are not in communication with who is modifying the code, that we don't want that to happen. So this is a little bit higher in probability, because sometimes we do forget to send that quick text if you're just doing a little part of the code and you think will be done quick. But any code that we worked on, we made sure we said something about it. If the code is going to be worked on, we must reach out, like I just said, for the monitoring approach and for our contingency plan. Whoever is working on the code will make sure to reach out. And that saved us for sure. So technology adoption, some team members will need to get familiar. So we were pretty familiar with GitHub. The only thing we were not all familiar with is Java. So we did need to spend some time learning Java and how to work with it, especially Java Swing. If we didn't know Java, we didn't know Java Swing for sure. So we had to spend some time learning that. Higher probability, as everyone does not know all of the programming languages, so higher probability there. If the team member is not familiar with Java, they definitely need to learn it to be able to be part of the project, the coding aspect of it. monitoring approach. During the meetings, we'll make sure everyone knows how to do their part in the code. And if they do not know how to do that part, we will make sure to help them. Contingency plan, we'll set up a group chat with Discord as we did for everything else, and we'll make sure someone reaches out that they do get the help. I'm going to pass it over to Nathan to start our conversation on phases 2 and 3.
How's it going, everyone? This is Nathan, and I'm going to kind of talk you guys through phase 2 and 3. First, I'm going to start with the use case diagram. With SmartPad, this is an singular software where a single user can go on there and edit code and make sort of changes on there. So just one big distinction that I want to draw is that the user is not a class rather than a role, and has multiple abilities to use its role to access different things. So the first thing that a user can do is modify and view word count within the application. Furthermore, another feature that we wanted to replicate, which is pretty well done in things like, IntelliJ or NetBeans, is print with footer and header. Of course, since you're working on your own system, you want to be able to open new files, save, and so on. So we implemented that feature within the code. Another feature that we added to the text editor for the user is to be able to highlight, including highlighting color. So we have implemented code there where you can choose any color that you need to highlight whatever text that you desire to. Going forward, we have text alignment. So left, middle, and right, pretty straightforward. A user can copy, cut, and paste just as you could in Word or Google Sheets. You can change font style, underlined, bold, and italic, any text that you desire within the text editor. We can search the text file, so using Command F if you're on a Mac, or Control F to search for any keywords that you would need. And then last but not least, you can choose font type, color, and size on the text editor. As we move over to the domain class diagram, we're going to start with the text class. These are objects, obviously all. So with the text object, highlight, copy, cut, paste, font type, color, size, font style, and text alignment are all things that are a member of that object. And then for those 4 or 5 objects that I just named off, the layout pane is something that holds all those functionalities. So as I mentioned before, highlight, copy, cut, paste, font type, color, size, font size, and text alignment, modify the text. And then when the text get modified, the word count changes based on those sort of inputs that the user does. And then within the navigation pane, you can view that word count, as well as being able to open a new file and save the file that you've been working on. And then you can also search your text file, as I mentioned before, for certain keywords in that navigation pane. And then you can print things within your file from the navigation pane. And then last but not least, we're going to go through the design class diagram. The text editor is the text that's being edited. All the methods here are attributes. So with the first attribute, we have the current text, which is just a string. We have a highlight color, which is an action event that is specific to Java Swing. And most of these are all actual specific events to Java Spring here on out. So copy, as you may know, would be to copy a certain set of characters. Paste would be to paste a set of characters from a keyboard. Cut would be able to delete a selected amount of strings from your text editor and get rid of them from the file. Font color is an action event where you can change the color of the font. Font style would be able to change the styling of the font. So things like Times New Roman. Font size would be able to modify the size of the font in increments in a numerical scale. Font bold would make your font bold. Font italic would italicize the selected font when it is highlighted. Font underline would underline the given font. And then font bullet point would add a bullet point in front of this string that you have selected. With text center, right and left, the selected or highlighted text that you have would be able to be modified in a certain position on the text file. So whether it be left, center, or right. Font strike through would put a line through the font that you selected. Right file would be able to allow the user to write a certain file, and read file would allow the certain user to read the file. So it pretty much gives access to a user on the system to be able to edit text and not. Create file would be creating a new file. Print header would print the header that the given file has. Print footer would print obviously the footer of the given file, and then print pages would print the selected pages of the text. Lastly, we come down to search, as I mentioned before, where a user can type in a select keyword and see if that exists within the file, and then word counter will display the given amount of words within the text editor. So we have a couple of functions down here: modify text, where given an input of a string and a selection in the layout pane and the navigation pane, you're able to modify a certain amount of text. So a layout pane layout object would be something like font underline, and a navigation pane object would be something like text center. So you could modify that certain text. Highlight text is a function where you can highlight the text given an action event of color. Text location is a function where you can specify the text location that you desire to have, so whether that's center, left, or right. Font style is an action event where you can either do bold, italic, or size. Print options is a method where you enter in a string of options, and that would apply it to the print. And then finally, the text is where you put in a string and it will return whether or not that string is.
Okay, I'm Ellis, and I'm going to explain to you the word count feature. This is the fully addressed use case for word count. And the scope is for SmartPad. The level would be considered a sub-function. This would be for the user, whoever's using SmartPad. Stakeholders and interests is again for the user. So the user wants to know how many words are within the current text file. Preconditions. The only precondition would be that there needs to be text within the file to count. Success guarantee is just that, it's simple. The word count, the number of words is returned. The main success scenario, the user is able to enter text into the file, and then the system displays the total number of characters, the number of instances within the file. Extensions, if nothing is entered into the file, the system count will display 0 until something is entered. Special requirements, there aren't any for this. And technology and data, count numbers and symbols. The frequency is continuous, or however often the user accesses the feature from the toolbar. Here is the sequence diagram for word count. While displaying text to the document, while adding text to the document, the user can access the toolbar word count feature to get an up-to-date calculation of the total number of words within the document. And as we see in the diagram, the user is entering text into the text editor. The SmartPad then returns or displays the text. The user then accesses the word count feature from the toolbar, and the word count is returned, highlighting the number of instances and words within the text, within the file.
Hello, I'm Shi. Let me introduce the fully addressed use case for the print functions. And the full scope is just in the SmartPad text pane, and the primary actors is the users. And for the interest, the users are able to set and change the footer and header of the file, and the users are able to choose the printers and print settings. Users are also able to print the content of the whole text areas with the header and footers. They are also able to cancel the print before the print start. The preconditions is that the user has to open the SmartPad. The success guarantees printers accessed and the file is shown printed. Users can get the either hard copies of the file or digital copies in the directory preset. For the main success scenario, first, users press the button to open a new window to set the header and footer for the pages, if necessary. After the header and footer are recorded, the users click the OK button, and the header and footer windows is closed. Then users press the print button. The users need to enter the new windows for printing setting. He will choose the printers and set the printing parameters. When he or she press OK button to start the print, the system will display the printing was done, and the user is able to get either a hard copy of the file from the printer or find a digital copy like the PDF in the preset directory. For extensions, first, header and footer set incorrectly. In this case, if a header and footer are set incorrectly, the users can reuse the header and footer window to reset them. Another case is the printing need to be cancelled. If the user thinks he doesn't want the print anymore, he can press the cancel button in the print windows to stop it. For special requirements, printing can be done by any digital or non-digital printers accessible to the computer, and printing response time should not over 10 seconds. For technology and data variation list, any text input must be typed with a keyboard. And for frequency of the occurrence, users can start the printing as long as the last printing work is finished. And for the sequence diagram for printing, the users press the button to open a new window to set header and footer for pages. And then the header and footers is recorded, and the users click the OK button, then the header and footers windows closed, and all the content the users entered is recorded. Like in the pictures, first we use the text editor will call the set header and footer method from the text editor GUI and to set for the content. Then the users will press the print button and enter the printing windows and choose the printer and set the parameters for work. When the users press OK, the printing started. The system will display the whole process of the printing until the system will give the reply that the printing was done. Then the user is able to get a hard copy from the actual printer or find digital copies in the directory, which he said before.
Hey guys, this is Mamadur, and I'll be going over the use case to open a new file, save a file, and open an existing file. As a user, I want to create a new file, open an existing file, and save a file. And for scope, it is SmartPad. For primary actor, it is user. For stakeholders and interests, the user wants to create a new text file, open an existing file, or to save a file. And for company, it wants to provide an easy way for the user to manage files in the text editor. And for preconditions, SmartPad text editor must be open on desktop. And the success guarantee is that a new file is created in memory, an edited file is saved to the system, and a file is stored in the system and then loaded into memory. And for a success scenario, the student downloads the SmartPad text editor from the website. The user installs SmartPad on their PC. The user launches SmartPad. The user creates a new file. The user edits the file. The user saves the file. The user closes the file. The user opens the file again. And then for extensions, the file open function could fail. The file does not exist or is not saved properly. User checks file location and a format. User repeats the steps to create, edit, and save the file. And special requirements program is installable on desktop computers, including Windows and OS X. Technology and data variations. desktop computer with a mouse and a keyboard is required to input text and use text editor features. And for frequency or occurrence, as much as the user wants, and open issues none. And here's a sequence diagram. And the user begins by opening the SmartPad program and clicking on the new file button from the menu bar to create a new file, which uses the new file function. After successfully creating a new file, the user will edit the file using the add text function to add text to the text pane. And after the file is edited, then the user clicks the save button which uses the save function. The save option window pops up and the user chooses a file name and location. After the file is saved, the user clicks the open file button, which uses the open file function. The user will navigate to the file, then click open. The file will be displayed in the text pane. And I'll pass it off to Xi to talk about the highlighting function.
Thank you. Let me introduce the highlight functions. The scope is also during the text pane, and the primary actors is the users. And the interest is the users are able to highlight the text as a file in the text pane. The users are able to choose the highlight colors, and users are able to clear the highlight if necessary. For the preconditions, the text pane should contain some characters to imply the highlighter. For the sex guarantees, the chosen characters are colorfully painted with a highlight. Current highlighters can also be deleted, and the characters are back to normal. For the main success scenario, first users choose the highlight color buttons to choose the highlight color. If the user just want to use a yellow color, it's defaulted and presetted. Second, users use the mouse to select the characters which need to be highlighted. And then users press the highlight button in the quick menu to highlight the characters. For extensions, in one case, highlighted is set incorrectly. In this case, the users can use a different color to re-highlight it. Any characters is necessary. Then the users can also select the characters in the text pane and press the clear highlight button to delete the highlight. For special requirement, the default highlight color is set as yellow. If the users want to use the different colors, he or she needs to press the highlight color set button to choose a new one. Another case is that the characters should be selected before pressing the highlight button. For technology data and variation list, all the characters in the text pane can be highlighted. For frequencies, users can highlight any characters as long as the last highlighting mark is finished. And for the sequence diagram, we can see the text editors will call the method from the GRI set, let the user to choose the color of the highlighter. Then the text GRI will show that the highlight color is changed. Then the user use the mouse to select the text. When the text is selected, the GUI will show which characters is selected. Then the user will press the button to call the highlight method. And the text GUI will reply and show that the selected part is being highlighted with the selected colors.
All right, I'm Cameron, and this is the text alignment use case. Scope, SmartPad, primary actors, the user, stakeholders and interests. The user wants to be able to change the text alignment of the text they have written to change their formatting and improve the readability or aesthetic of the written text. Preconditions are that the document is open and editable. Success guarantee is the user enters text, user clicks in front of the text, and then clicks left, middle, or right alignment. The main success scenario is the user opens a document to edit. The system makes sure the document is editable. The user selects a portion of the text to change the alignment of, and the system changes the alignment to what the user has selected. There's no extensions for this use case. Buttons for changing text alignment should be present on screen at all times on the top of the program when editing text. Left is the default alignment of all written text unless changed by the user, and that's the special requirements. The technology and data variations. is a mouse or touchscreen is required to press the actual button on the GUI. And the frequency of occurrence is as much as the user wants to press the button, so as much as they want to use the feature. On the right-hand side, we have the sequence diagram for the text alignment feature. The user selects the text that they want to change the alignment of, and they press the alignment button of their desired alignment, triggering the alignment function and aligning the text. Now I'm going to pass it on to Ellis.
Thanks, Cam. I'm going to cover the cut, copy, and paste use case. So the scope is the SmartPad, level is user goal, primary actor is a user, stakeholders and interest. The user wants to copy and add text to the file, and the user wants to cut and add text. Any preconditions? There must be text copied in the clipboard to paste into the document. Success guarantee. Text is copied, text is cut, and text is pasted within the file. The main success scenario. The user can copy text from the file or to an external source. The user can cut text from the file or external source. The user pastes text into the file. The system adds the pasted text and updates the word count for the file when used. Extension scenarios, if there is no text to copy or nothing is stored within the clipboard, nothing will be pasted into the file and word count will be unaffected if used. There are no special requirements. Technology and data variations, paste options that let the user keep the format or convert it to the current file or text format. While working in SmartPad, the user can cut text from an external source or from the current document and paste into the file. The user can also copy text from the current document or external source and paste it in a similar fashion. And in the diagram, we see the user is copying a string or a character from the file into the file. The user is also cutting a string or character from the file that they're currently working in and pasting it back in if you were to paste it in a different location. And then the user is also using any copied or cut strings or characters and pasting it into a file. And,
All right, here we have the use case for font style. Scope is SmartPad, primary actor is the user. The stakeholders and interests is the user wants to be able to change the font styling, underline, bold, italic of the text so that they can customize the appearance of what they've written. Preconditions, again, document must be open and editable. Success guarantee, user selects the text, user selects underline, bold, or italic styling. Main success scenario is the user opens a document to edit. The system makes sure the document is editable. The user selects a portion of text to change the font styling for, and the system changes the font styling to what the user has selected. There is no extensions for this use case, and the special requirements are that there's a button for changing font styling present on the GUI at all times on the top of the program when editing the text. And the technology and data variation list is a mouse or touchscreen is required to press the button, and the frequency of occurrence is as much as the user wants to use the feature. On the right-hand side, again, we have the sequence diagram for font style. You can change the font style of what has been written, calling the appropriate function to be applied. And then I'll pass it back to Ellis.
this is the use case for search. The scope is, again, the SmartPad. The level is user goal. And primary actor is also for the user. Stakeholders and interests. The user wants to find a value or string within the text file. The preconditions, the file can't be empty to search. The success guarantee is that the text will be highlighted. The total number of instances within the file will be shown. In the main success scenario, the user enters a string or character to search. The system shows where the string or character is and number of occurrences within the file. Extensions, If the search string or character does not exist, the system will return nothing. There are no special requirements or technology uses for this use case. And it's used, the frequency or occurrence is up to the user. And I'll pass it back to Cam. Oh, sorry. In SmartPad, a user can access the search feature from the toolbar. Type in a string or character to perform a search on, and SmartPad will return the number of instances and location of the search entry. So in the diagram, we have a user who's accessing the toolbar search function and entering text. And then the GUI is doing the search for the search string or text and returns the number of instances and locations within the file. Now I'll pass it on to Cam for search.
All right, thank you. So here we have the font type, color, and size use case. Scope, again, SmartPad, primary actor, user, stakeholders and interests. The user wants to be able to change the font type, color, and size so they can customize the appearance of the text they've written. Preconditions, again, document must be open and editable. And the success guarantee is user selects text. User is able to change the font type, color, and size of text. And the main success scenario is the user opens the document. The system makes sure the document is editable. The user selects a portion of text to change the font type, color, or size of. And the system changes the font type, color, or size to what the user has selected. Special requirements is the button for changing font type, color, or size should be present on screen at all times when editing text. And technology and data variations list is a mouse or touch screen is required to press the button, and frequency of occurrences again as often as the user wants to use the feature. On the right hand side is the sequence diagram, and when the user is editing text in SmartPad, the user can change the font family, font color, and font size by pressing the respective buttons on the quick access toolbar. By pressing the buttons, the apply function applies the selected styles to the selected text. And now we are going to demo our program and show you how and why we implemented everything and how it works. Thank you. Hey everyone, this is our demo for SmartPad. It's our text editor we created. So first of all, I'm gonna cover the GUI. So up top we have a menu bar. By the way, this whole UI was built with Swing. So we used Swing elements to create all these. We have like the file edit format tool about, those are drop-down menus. We included things like hotkeys so they can be quickly accessed. Then below that we have our quick buttons. So from left to right we have create a new document, and then we have open an existing document, and then next to that is save. And then for the next group we have paste from clipboard. We have copy, and that copies the selected text. And then we have cut, and that cuts the selected text. And then in the next grouping, we have the highlighter buttons. So the first button right there, that you select your text and you hit that and it highlights it. The one to the right of that is where you select your highlight color. Then after that, we have it clears the highlighter that you already placed on your document. Then the next grouping, we have bold, self-explanatory there, underline, italic, and then that button next to it clears the styling that you applied. And then next grouping, this is the font grouping. We have the font family, so what kind of font you have. Next to that, we have font size, and then we have font color, and then we have clearing text formatting. And then right there we have align left, align center, and align right, which basically moves your the alignment of your text that you've written. And then next to that, we have our quick font selector. You can quickly select your fonts there, and font size as well. And then below that, we have the search, like the search bar, the clear search as well. we're gonna go more into depth with each of these, but yeah, right there, that's the GUI. And then I'm gonna pass it on to Mamadou, who's going to show us some features that he's implemented.
Okay, hey guys, my name is Mamadou, and I'll be demonstrating how to create a new file and open a file and save a file. Okay, so click on this to create a new file. And then here. And then I can click on create a new file again. And then it'll ask if you're sure you want to create a new document, and then click on yes. Then and then you can click on save to save the document. Then create a new file again. And then click on open to open a document. There it is. And then next, I will be demonstrating font style. And then so this gives you an option to bold the text. And then there's another option to underline the text. And then there's another option to add italics to the text. And then there's an option to clear formatting. And then I'll be passing it on to Cam to cover text alignment.
Okay, so now that we can type in some example text. So currently, like by default, your text is set to a left alignment. So if we were to highlight the text and hit the center align button, it moves the text to the center of the notepad. And the same story goes with the right and then the left as well. We'll put it right back to the left, right where we had it. And that's text alignment. That's pretty useful if you're styling a document, that kind of stuff. Next, we can cover the font type, color, and size. So for that, for the font family, the easiest way to do it is to click on the quick button right there. Instead of having to go through a menu, you get it right there, right at your fingertips. We can just change it to all your system fonts. And then right next to that, you can change the size as well. Really convenient. And then by clicking on the font color button, which is in the other section, we can choose any color on the color wheel that you want, and it applies to your text. And then next I'll show word count. So for that, we click on the menu bar on tool, then word counter. And we have 10 words there, and it displays it. That's useful if you're trying to see how many words you have, or if you have to reach a certain word target. And then after that, we have cut, copy, and paste. So those are pretty self-explanatory if you use the computer. Obviously, cut takes your text and cuts it right out. It can be pasted again. And then we can select that text. We can copy it. Then we can just paste it again, like the same features that you'd expect from any other program with that functionality. We have it right here. And now I'm going to pass on to Ji to demonstrate the search feature.
Hi, I'm Shi. Now I want to show you the function of the search. We know the search function is maybe one of the most useful function when we're using text editors. So now I entered the content. Okay, now we try something we need to search. For example, like OU, and everything including the OU will be highlighted with a default color. When we change the content we need, the highlight part will also change. But when I was doing these features, the problems I met with when I finish the searching, the highlight color will be also kept in the content. And so I just use another button, the clear search, to finish all the work and just return the files to the original style. And now let me introduce another useful features is highlight. When record some files or which we written, we need to highlight some part. Maybe we think it's important to highlight it. So we can press the highlight button to highlight it. I just set the default color for the highlight is yellow, but sometimes we can use different highlight colors to record. So I can change them. So I can choose the highlight color to another, like the blue. And when I change it, I can use the highlight button to change any part I need to re-highlight. And when I think the files don't need the highlight anymore, I can clear it. I can clear the whole part or just clear some parts of the content. It's just up to the users. It's very convenient. When we finish all the features and we think everything is okay for the files, we need to record it or print it out. Sometimes users will need a footer and a header for the files. So we also use a button to let the user to enter the header, like, and also the footer. When we press OK, they are recorded. And now we need to save or print. I would just want to print it out. In the print buttons, we can choose the printers and set the parameters for the printing functions. But now I want to show that if I just choose to print it like a PDF, I can choose this function and set it and set print. And it will let me to choose which one to print, like test. And the printing is done. And I can find in the directory I select, I can find the files like test. We can see here is my files. And here is the header and the footer I set for the file. So I think this will give the users a very successful and satisfied feelings about the text editor. That's all. Thank you.